Internet, how are you today? I did not film an intro to this video because originally my plan was to make that last video two-parter video, and if I had done that, then that video would have been 40 minutes long, and it's just why? That doesn't work for me. So episode 2 starts off with Alice and Nat. They are about to have sex, and then Nat's scary ex comes over and nails her wedding ring to the door, and Alice is like, oh my god, you used to be married to somebody like that? And I was like, shut the fuck up, Alice. I'm serious. That is nothing compared to how Alice reacted when Dana broke up with her. She developed a fucking drug problem that just kind of magically went away by season 3, episode 5. We never hear about it again after that. And I guess the drug problem was supposed to be like the cause of why she was so... She tried to run Dana off of the road, and then she like slashed Dana's tires. Anytime she was around Dana, she couldn't speak normally. Like, she was super creepy and obsessive and gross. She spied on Dana and Laura making out. She had a fucking shrine. She had a fucking shrine. It was I hated it when I watched this like 13 years ago, but I especially hated it when I watched it this decade. But yeah, I think that Alice and Gigi have a lot in common, and we saw them bonding over some tea. So I think that she's gonna leave Nat behind and hook up with Gigi, which I don't care. Anyway, secondly, so I mentioned in the last video that I thought at first that Finley was gonna sleep with Danny because I thought that the woman with long brown hair was Danny, until I realized that that was a completely different woman. I have this whole story going where she was sleeping with somebody who was married. If not Danny, then somebody else, because she was sneaking out of that girl's house, and it's like, oh, maybe she snuck out of that girl's house naked because her boyfriend or husband came over. And what if she's sleeping with like whoever's running against Bet? Do we even know who's running against Bet? Whatever. Maybe some like straight white guy, maybe his wife or something, and you know, plot twist of all. Yeah, but that's not what's going on. Anyway, we see Rebecca in one of the trailers. Finley approaches her, and then Rebecca calls her out and says,
I just watched you walk up and introduce yourself to like 5 other women in this barn.
Oh, I'm very friendly.
Is that what it is?
I thought that that was the case with Finley because we knew that she's not from LA. She comes from a religious background. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to church. Every time I've gone to church, there was this really awkward bit that I really hate when the pastor tells you to introduce yourself to your neighbors, and you have to be like, oh, hi, good morning, God bless you. She might be used to just walking into a room and introducing herself to people, and maybe she just was so innocent that she didn't know that it could be possibly misconstrued into, I'm just gonna go have sex with somebody here, and this is the best way to do that. I was wrong, obviously. She was going through Tinder, just, you know, swiping and swiping and swiping away when she was already at the bar with Shane, and then Shane was like, what the hell are you doing? Just go and talk to the women here. And so she did that, and that's what happened. So Finley and Shane met last episode. Alice had paid Finley to go over and make Shane's bed, and then Shane also wanted to pay Finley, and she even said, oh, well, then just take it as a tip if Alice already paid you. And then Finley was like, no, I feel a little weird about taking your money, even though she is broke AF, and Shane has a lot of money to spare. Let's be fucking honest. She has a lot of money to spare. But I think it's interesting that she felt weird about taking money from Shane, but then she doesn't feel weird at all about just moving herself in.
Well, if you ever need some space, I think there's some extra bedrooms in the back.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That was really unclear. Like, Finley took that to mean, you are my new roommate. She moved into Shane's place. Shane even said, I think there's been a miscommunication, but you were not clear. What the hell did you mean by that? She invited Shane to go to the bar and get some drinks, but she also made it very clear that she would not be buying the drinks because she's broke as fuck, and that Shane would be buying for her. And then when Shane told her to just talk to the people at the bar, she was like, okay, well, you're paying for my drinks. And then when she met Rebecca, she basically talked Rebecca not only into getting a drink with her, but in paying for that drink.
You have a tab open?
Is that how it works?
Well, I'm a PA, so, I mean, what do? You got a job?
You know what? I'll buy.
And then she went home with her. So Finley's pretty smooth. Well, I mean, almost, but we'll circle back to that later. So in episode 1, Danny was working for her evil father, but she switched sides to the good side. Bet Porter 2020. And she just now decided to tell Sophie about this, and Sophie's like, what the fuck?
I got a new job.
Oh.
I'm going to run PR for Bet Porter's campaign. I get to be a part of something that I actually believe in.
Well, you should have talked to me first.
Oh. I thought that you'd be happy for me.
You just made a life-changing decision and then told me about it after the fact. Like, she did not include the woman that she's gonna spend the rest of her life with in this big decision, such as changing careers.
I know you. What's wrong?
I'm just scared.
Of what?
I'm just scared that she's gonna keep making decisions without me.
That reaction does completely make sense. We saw last episode through Danny's perspective. We know exactly what motivated her from leaving her dad's company to working for Bet. I'm sure we were all rooting for Danny to make that switch, but this probably seems completely out of nowhere for Sophie. This problem that we've run into, it's very fixable because I'm sure that once Danny simply communicated what happened, Sophie would be supportive, and Sophie just needs to say, I don't have anything against you working for Bet Porter. If that's what makes you happy, do it. I support you. I just felt worried that you didn't include me in this, and it's such a big decision. I want to feel confident that when we make big decisions, we can make them together. Yeah, so they just need to talk it out. These are like basic communication skills, and if you're gonna get married, you need these kinds of skills. And also, if they've been together for years and years and years, and they still like each other, they probably have some of these basic communication skills. But later on in the episode, Sophie said that the messed up part is she doesn't know what a happy marriage looks like because she didn't see that modeled at home. And I definitely feel that. And that gave us an opportunity to learn more about her and to learn more about Finley, because Finley said that her parents sleep in separate beds or in separate rooms and that they kicked her out of the house. Ah, Finley. And she's like such a cheerful puppy, and yet she's been kicked out. I find that contradiction kind of interesting. Anyway, these two were not able to talk out their problems because Micah comes in and he's really stressing about whether or not he should go to a fancy ass restaurant. He has gift cards. He would rather use it on a hot guy than on those two. When he tells Jose, like, so dramatic, sounds like he's gonna tell him something really major, and of course Jose thinks that he's about to come out, and he's like, oh yeah, I already know. We saw that in the trailer and I thought it was super bizarre. How do you talk about gift card with such gravity? Later on in the date, they go swimming. Jose asks Micah questions about him being trans, and Micah is not very interested in answering those questions. He did say that he didn't always date guys, and I know that he used to date Danny. I don't know if it was before he transitioned or after. He said that he transitioned 5 years ago, and I'm not sure how long Danny and Sophie have been together, so math. Anyway, and then they end up having sex in the pool. Because this is the L Word, and the L Word really loves pool sex. I mean, the first sex scene ever on the L Word was pool sex. So at the end of the episode, we're at Sophie and Danny's engagement party, and Micah is there, and he sees Jose just kind of walk past awkwardly because he's a neighbor, so he's gonna walk past the party to get to his place, and he's like, oh fuck, I should have invited him. And he's once again insecure. So I'm sensing a pattern with both Micah and Finley where they're pretty bold, they take initiative, but then they're still like insecure. Oh, I don't know. What if they don't actually like me? Jose had sex with you in a pool. You broke his window and you still managed to take him out to dinner, and then that ended up with you guys having sex in the pool. I think he's cool with you. And then with Finley, she mentioned to Shane earlier that she's never had sober sex because she has to drink because she doesn't know if the other person likes her without alcohol. And that kind of bit her in the ass when she was with Rebecca for the first time because she was too drunk that she couldn't have sex and she almost threw up. But like, let's review what went on with Rebecca. Finley convinced her to buy her a drink. Finley went back to her place. Rebecca told her that she was so beautiful.
You're so beautiful. No.
And then she still offered to get her a glass of water. She texted her the next day, "You don't need to get drunk."
These have to be our last ones.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna be drunk, but not like dizzy drunk for this girl, you know?
But I'm wondering if it's more than just, I need to get drunk because I don't know if the other person likes me. Maybe it's like not being able to handle your sexuality, and alcohol kind of numbs those feelings of shame and dirtiness and all of that. Maybe we'll find out next episode. Speaking of characters who are very bold, last time Angie got grounded because she skipped school with Jordy, who gave her pot. And then Jordy shows up and introduces herself to Bet, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. My parents have a different set of values, but you know, this will never happen again. I won't get her in trouble anymore. I just love spending time with your incredible daughter so much." I think that it's fairly safe to say that this crush that Angie has on Jordy is mutual. She looks between them like, I know what's going on here, but thankfully she allows Jordy and Angie to spend some time together. That can be pretty conservative when it comes to judging others, especially when it comes to her kids, but like, this woman has so many skeletons in her closet, I swear to God. At one point in this episode, Danny asks if there's anything that anybody else can use against her. And I'm like, baby girl, you do not have time to hear all of these stories. I mean, like, okay, so Bet mentioned that she cheated on her ex-wife, but she did not mention that was an employee. So that's not the first time she slept with like an employee. She also slept with a student when she was teaching grad school. So there was that. She kidnapped Angelica in season 3. And in season 2, she threatened to murder her boss when her boss fired her.
I'd like to fucking murder somebody. You, maybe.
She ran a red light, caused a car accident, and then completely cussed the guy out whose like car she crashed into. And then when he called her when she was at work, she was like there in the room with all of her work colleagues. She went off on him and then just continued working like nothing fucking happened.
Listen, you asshole. If you keep pushing me, you're gonna end up with a lawsuit on your hands. You got it? Bring it on, you fucking dwarf. Shall we move on?
Bet did not mention any of that shit. But you know, she did mention that like a friend of hers died on her property via suicide. And I'm like, sure, Jan. Sure, I'll take that at face value. I've noticed that some people are shipping Danny and Bet because they have good chemistry. I do think they have good chemistry. That's why I like seeing their scenes together. But they don't need to have sex. They don't need to. No. I love Danny and Sophie together. So romantic. I care about them so much more than I've ever cared about Bet and Tina. God, that's controversial as fuck. Gigi and Alice got closer this episode, right? So maybe they're gonna have an affair. And then Bet's gonna go back to having an affair with that guy's wife. Oh yeah, and it looks like Shane is gonna have like a 3-way with these two. So she's gonna sleep with one or the other or both. This won't happen on this show because the thought of, are there too many cheating storylines in my story? Maybe if I added another one, that would be too redundant. Like, that just never entered their consciousness when it came to the original, because there were so many cheating storylines, one after another or simultaneously. And it's, with all of that drama going on, maybe they'll find something else to do with Danny and Sophie. Please. I mentioned that I was going to go to a bar in Oakland. It was so much more chill than Jolene's. Nothing against Jolene's. It's a wonderful bar. And it was a much bigger bar than the bar that I went to in Oakland. And yet the venue was too small considering how gay San Francisco is. Considering how there were like 300 lesbians all in the same bar with nowhere to fucking sit. It was ridiculous. But at this other bar that I went to in Oakland, it was called Teo. Oh my God, girl, I went ahead and I got myself a cocktail because I could actually walk to the bar, and I knew that if I needed to go to the bathroom, I could just go to the bathroom and I wouldn't have to wait in line with like 20 other people and then miss the fucking show. I could talk to people. They gave me free snacks. I got spring rolls and I got sandwiches. It was fucking awesome. It was fucking awesome. I'm definitely going there in 2020. But anyway, I was talking to somebody to my side when we saw Jordy and Angie together. She said, "Now this I like," and then she asked me if I've seen Euphoria. And let me tell you, the first time I heard somebody bring up Euphoria, R.E., Angie, and Jordy, I was like, drugs? Do you think that Angie's gonna get addicted to drugs? And then I found out that the actress who plays Jordy is trans, and I was like, that's what they have in common. Hopefully that's the only thing that they have in common with this couple from Euphoria. Well, I get it. Like, you know, we have an interracial lesbian pairing, black cis girl, white trans girl. Where else do you see a pairing like that? Sense8? Speaking of Sense8, Jamie Clayton made an appearance on the show. Her character's name is Tess. Finley said that in the first episode that she had hooked up with a bartender, and I looked at the character list on Wikipedia and I knew that Jamie Clayton's character worked at a bar, and so my understanding was, oh, so she hooked up with Tess. But no, because Tess was at the same bar that Finley was at, and at no point in time do we see Tess hunt Finley down while she's chatting up Rebecca and say, "What the fuck, girl? You stole my fucking bike. Give me my fucking bike back. And you left your car in my driveway in front of my fucking garage. I had my car in my garage. I had to call a tow truck to move your car out of my driveway. What the fuck? Go get your car. Give me back my bike. How dare you?" Yeah, that didn't happen in that scene. So I'm guessing that she hooked up with a different bartender. I don't know if she is gonna see that girl again, if she's gonna get her car back. We're gonna find out maybe soon, maybe next episode. Oh, a couple of things I want to point out. I rewatched the trailer and it looked like Alice was kissing another woman who wasn't Nat or Gigi. So I don't know when that relationship's gonna end, but apparently soon. And I thought that I saw Jose on top of Micah, but I rewatched and it looks like that's another guy who just happens to have a lot of facial hair like Jose. So I don't know if this thing between Micah and Jose, if they're gonna last long, or maybe they're gonna, like, you know, do the polyamory thing, or maybe that guy just slipped on a banana peel and landed on top of Micah. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the next episode, which will probably air, later today or yesterday, depending on when I fucking post this. I'd just like to point out that I have seen episode 3, and no, Finley did not get her car back. In fact, I saw her still riding along on that same bicycle that she stole from the first girl.